What's up, everybody, and welcome to Weekend Wagers, where we give you a little bit of a 12-pack and get you ready for the weekend, as we always do. Everybody's coming in, filing in for the crew. We give this available for the crew on Friday, so if you're new here, you might be getting in on Saturday or Sunday. Well, go ahead and sign up, become a part of the crew, and you can go ahead and start getting this on Friday, all of the pure goodness that we have for Friday. But we have an entire fun weekend planned for you, so hopefully you join us. But before we get too far, let's take a look back at how we did last week. And I have to say to everybody, I do apologize. That was on me. I know Mark goes 2-2. I go 1-3. Robbie coming back again with another 3-1. So it is what it is. This weekend will look better, but let's go ahead and get to our guys. Here they are. Robbie, how are you? Good afternoon.
Doing great, man. I'm sorry too. I'm 3-1. I said I'd go 4-0, so I'm disappointed in myself.
I'm disappointed in you too.
Uh,
But we're going to go ahead and move on past that. And the most disappointed I am is the fact that we don't have a guitar solo coming from Mark here. You did go 2-2, which you said that you would go better than 1-3. So shout out to you for doing that. So good afternoon, Mark.
Hey, DG, Robbie, how you guys doing, crew? Yeah, unfortunately, I get to just speak through the picks that I have for this weekend. I don't have to put them to song. We had a gig last night, so my voice is a little shot anyway.
Well, listen, I am disappointed because I really wanted that to happen. But let's go ahead and get into our picks. And Mark, go ahead and lead us off here.
DG, I got a question for you.
Oh, boy.
Seattle is playing New Jersey, and they are on the second night of a back-to-back. Do you know how many back-to-back games Seattle has played this season? I'll help you. 4.
Close.
Guess how many of those 4 games they have won?
0.
Bingo. Absolutely. They have not won a single back-to-back game. They're taking on the Devils. Not only have they not won any of those second nights, they've played 2 of those games on the road. They have not scored a goal. They've been shut out in both of those road games. I'm looking for the Devils here to close this out, take them on the 3-way or to win in regulation, and that's at -140. I know it's a little bit juicy, but it's absolutely worth it here in this spot. I really think that with you've got Philip Grubauer, who's in goal for the Kraken, and he has been absolutely horrible. He has a 7.06 goal against average. He's got a 73.1% save rate. That is absolutely pathetic to be at the NHL level with a 73% save rate. Look for the Devils to take care of this in 60 minutes.
I agree, Mark. Absolutely pathetic. Like, I don't get it. 73%, that's terrible. Mark, what's the 3-way mean?
So it's similar to soccer in the sense that you're picking it to the game to end in regulation. So full 60 minutes, all 3 periods. It won't go into overtime. They have to win in regulation.
Okay. And
with the 3-way, you can pick either side or a tie. There's no option for the tie here.
Gotcha. Okay. I like that. I wasn't asking for me. I was asking for other people that might not know hockey and how you bet that.
You're a hockey savant.
Yeah, no, professional.
Yeah, just like coach is a soccer savant. Yeah.
Exactly. Same. All right, let's go to my pick here. We're going to go with a game that's tonight. Little UNLV, Boise State. We're going to go with the first quarter, both teams to score at +110. They literally played this season, and they literally both scored. It doesn't take a rocket science. Listen, I am very smart, and I know everybody understands that and would agree. But I am just so smart by just using a play that they've already done the exact same thing, and they're going to do it again tonight. So I like this at that plus money here at +110. So both teams to score, UNLV and Boise State. Friday night, wrap it up, Robbie.
Yeah, no double shot tonight. Just one play. Going Austin Matthews, Sidney Crosby, 1+ point at +106. Austin's back from injury, and he hasn't really lost a step. He's got 15 points in his last 8 games versus Washington, and he has 5 points in his last 3 games overall since returning from injury. Crosby has a point in 9 of his last 10 games overall. He's averaging 1.3 points in all of his matchups versus the Rangers. Jacob Trouba just got traded to the Ducks for nothing. And New York Rangers have been terrible all year, just like my Nashville Predators. So take Crosby, take Austin, 1+ point at plus money at DraftKings is where I got the +106.
Okay. And Sidney Crosby, I know he plays for Pittsburgh. Who does Austin Matthews play for?
The Toronto Maple Leafs.
Toronto Maple. I knew that too. I just want to make sure everybody else knows. It's important.
Yeah.
But we do have some questions in the chat. One, thank you for joining us. I'm sorry, not questions, but we do have some best bets. Japan, who finally shows up, right? He's missed a couple weeks. And I don't know what this is. Does anybody know? This has to be UFC. Is that right?
Yeah. That's my boy Nate the Train Landwehr at UFC 310, Clarksville native. He's fighting tomorrow night. He's
Right.
projected to win as well. He's won the last 4 out of his last 5 UFC fights. So I like that.
Me too. Big capper in UFC. But also we have Lord Farquaad is here, and his favorite bet is either Jerry Judy, which we'll get into a little bit with Robbie later on the longest reception on this one, and then or George Pickens, longest reception over 28.5. Robbie, either one of these that you like more than the other?
I don't think you can go wrong with either one of those, honestly. I'm going to go with Judy just because of how crazy Jameis has been lately. I'm going to go with Judy on that one, and it kind of correlates with my play for later.
Okay, Mark, Khalil Secure going back to Cali. You like him to have 56 plus, 60 plus receiving yards this week?
I do. I think not only one is he going back home, and as a SoCal kid myself, I understand how great a feeling that is when you live out here in the Northeast, get to go back home and show out from friends and family and whatnot. I also think that with the Bills playing the Rams, you're going to get a wide open game.
Yeah,
and I really like Shakir, who is really kind of secured his position as a key component to that receiving core. I just think that it's a great spot for him.
Well, Keon Coleman could come back, I believe, this week. I know that there's still thoughts on whether or not he's back. I believe he was still questionable, but he's been questionable last week all the way until kickoff, and then they rolled him out again. So I'm curious if they actually bring him back this week. I haven't seen a definitive answer on it either way, so that could eat into it. In that, Mark, would you wait and see if he's active before you played that, or do you think one way or another on the wait and see or the go ahead and bet it now?
No, because to be honest with you, it kind of goes into where we're at in the NFL right now. We're at a weird part of the season. We're at that point because this is the last week for teams to have buys, which means that from here on out, we're going to have a full NFL slate every single week.
Right.
There are no more days off. There's no more opportunities to rehab an injury or to buy yourself some time. Coaches now have to start, accommodating for that, and they're going to be pulling back some of their horses, and you really have to gauge teams' motivations going into a particular game. I think that the Bills have a lot of motivation going into this game. Shakir's healthy. They're going to let him go. If they can get Coleman and let him sit for one more week to really rest up and gain a little more confidence with that injury, absolutely. Let him sit out for another week. It's not going to hurt. Or give him a few reps, but pull him back. So I don't think Coleman's not going to dip into Shakir's receptions.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it rolling now. And let's let you keep it going on a Saturday play. So, Mark, what you looking at a Saturday?
We are staying on the ice on Saturday. We're going to go St. Louis Blues. They are taking on the Edmonton Oilers, and we're taking the Blues on the puck line at plus 1.5 at minus 110. And look, this is simple. The Blues just hired Jim Montgomery, who was fired on November 19th from the Boston Bruins. Since they hired him, which is where he used to coach before he went to Boston, they brought him back. He started 11 on November 21st was his first game. Since then, they're 5-1-1, and they are a brand new team. They're playing with gusto. They're much more physical. They are taking it to teams. And Edmonton, while they have flashes of last year, they're just not as consistent. And I really think that St. Louis can, if not win this outright, they'll at least keep it within a goal.
All right. Well, I like and keep it on the ice, but we're going to go back to the gridiron, and we're going to go back to our Saturday here. We're going to stick with what we're good at, and that's another first quarter, both teams to score. I am going to go with Clemson, SMU here. Both of these teams like to get on the board a little bit early. Clemson is a notorious team this season who likes to make sure they kick a field goal, if not get the points in the first quarter. And so Clemson, SMU, both of these teams to go ahead and score in the first quarter. All right, Robbie, you're going to kind of stay with obviously college football, but I want you to give your play and explain why it's a little juiced and how to maybe reduce that juice.
Yes, I'm going with the Oregon Ducks tomorrow at -2.5. It's -142 regularly, but I use DraftKings and they have a boost. So they have a 50% boost, and I brought that -2.5 from -142 all the way down to +100. So you're only going to need a field goal for Oregon to win. I think Oregon covers. I agree with AB's take this morning. Kind of feels trappy because why are you giving me Oregon at 3.5? I'm just going to kind of buy some points, get it down to the -2.5, and also use the boost and get it +100. Those are kind of the only times I like using boost in college football. That's when it seems to make the most sense to me. If you can get a field goal for +100 for Oregon tomorrow, yeah, I'm taking that all day.
Yeah, and there's going to be different books that might put out a boost. And so if for some reason you're going over to DraftKings and you see it, go ahead and play it. If it's available, go ahead and play it. But if you don't play on DraftKings, or maybe you just don't have time, or you're catching this on Saturday, like, it's still okay to wait until the day of the games, because I can't imagine this goes to a 4 or a 4.5. I don't see it going that direction. And honestly, the only way I would see this going is maybe 3. So I think it could benefit you to wait, possibly, right? Because then you can move it down, with less, you're losing less there. But then your book that you actually play on could have a boost that comes out for the weekend matchups, because it is the championship Saturday. So if you don't see a boost, there's no reason to jump and play this just yet. You can kind of wait. And so I think that's a very good look here, because there's no reason to go off and run and it's like, I'll just play the -142. No, wait. I think you can wait. Mm-hmm. So that's a good look out of you, Robbie. All right, let's go ahead and keep it rolling to our Sunday plays. And so if you have anything that you have your best plays, we do have Japan on here. He's saying Kai by KO. Obviously, I would assume that's UFC. I don't know who Kai is. Anybody know who Kai is? No? Okay. Japan, we need help. And then Gary. Yep. No clue who Gary is. Is anybody? Oh, there's another one. Sorry. Gary. Anybody? Bueller? Nobody? All right. See. No idea. But shout out to everybody's just coming in here. Robert Bibbo. And then Brian Tonsoni. Coach Tonsoni. I guess I need to start referring to him as coach. And so everybody else does. So I figure, like, if I don't, I better. But all right, let's go ahead and go to our Sunday plays. Mark, go ahead and finish this out.
Perfect. I'm going to stick in Tampa for a couple of my plays on Sunday. Tampa Bay is taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to take Bucky Irving over 87.5 rushing and receiving yards, and that's at -115. Look, this play is simply based on the last 2 games with Tampa Bay. They have really started to use Bucky Irving and capitalize on what he brings to the table, not just rushing. He's he's darting. He's very tough for linebackers to get a good shot on once he breaks through the line of scrimmage. In addition to that, they've started using him as a swing out, the little screen passes, and that's really helped his yardage. In the last 2 games, Bucky's averaging 168 rushing receiving yards. The Buccaneers are one of those teams where, as I was talking about earlier, as far as gauging the mentality of a team, they have to win every single game. The NFC South and NFC West are horrible divisions in football. A 500 record right now has them tied for first. They need to win. There's no chance that they're going to take it easy on Las Vegas. I love this spot for Irving.
All right. Let's keep it rolling to your -2.5 plays.
Yeah. So what I did here is the Vikings are one of the 4-star model rated teams for this week. And so wanted to capitalize on that record for the model. It's been 13-1 since week 9 on 4-star rated teams. So let's take the Vikings. We're going to tease that spread down to just 2.5. They've got to be better than a field goal, basically. And we're going to pair that with the Buccaneers, who I think are a lot better than just a field goal over the Raiders. Combine the two, we get it for +115.
All right. I like it. I like it. All right. I'm going to go ahead and go with my plays. And this is going to be Saquon Barkley over 19.5 and the longest rush. It's at minus 115. Saquon going against Carolina is a feast week. As long as he stays healthy, as long as nothing crazy happens in this game, I expect him to run off for 80 to 100 yards, which is kind of where he's projected at, right? I think he actually have him at like 107 is his line. So 80 to 100 yards. I think in one of those runs, he's going to get a 20-yard rush. And then we're going to go with Jason Myers over 2.5 field goals. He is rated very high, and also Arizona gives up a lot of kicks. And so Jason Myers playing in a dome, that's the reason I went with that. Jason Myers in a dome, I do like him going against Arizona this week. And so if we have the entire kicker model, it was one of the higher rated kickers. The kicker model was absolutely on fire last week. And so if it keeps staying the way it is, we're going to be very profitable. So, all right, Robbie, you have a lot of good comments out here. Robbie makes me money. Shout out to Robbie. I messaged him and he got me a goal scorer. Everybody likes Robbie. So, Robbie, let's keep it rolling. Don't screw up this week.
No pressure, no diamonds, right? We're going Tony Pollard over 2.5 receptions, minus 125. Look, this is kind of the Titans' MO. They have no wide receivers left. He's one of the only guys they can really get the ball to. He's gone over this. And he's gone over in his last 7 of his last 10. Jacksonville ranks 29th in receptions to running backs. Just not a lot of weapons. Should be a good positive game script for the Titans and Jaguars, 2 terrible teams. So it should be a fun one to watch. Jerry Jeudy is my next play over 4.5 receptions at minus 130. Man, since Jameis has came back, he has been on a tear. He has 6 to 13 targets in his last 7 games with Jameis at quarterback. He's gone over this in his last 5 straight. And I love Jameis and Jeudy. I think they need to have their own TV show, Jameis and Jeudy, and I think they should cash me a lot more tickets this week as well.
I like it. I have a question, though, and I'm going to pick on you a little bit, Robbie.
All right.
Mark, I want you to look at these over there. The far right, if you don't mind, that's a plus 106. I like that. And then we see a minus 142, a minus 125, a minus 130. But everywhere else I look, I like everything else. Like, it's just weird. Mark, is Robbie getting a little worried? He went 3-1 for I think majority of the shows this year. Robbie, am I correct on that?
Yeah, it hasn't been 1-3 or something bad like that from last week.
Mark, do you think he's getting worried that he's kind of feeling nerves because everybody's in the chat just pumping him up? Everybody loves the Robbie. Now he's having to make sure he's getting a little nervous, and he's like, "Hey, I got to go after these minus 140, 150 plays." Let's
go
just
ahead, Mark. You go
180.
ahead, Mark, and then I'll defend myself after I hear this.
Yeah. This is very simple. I have known Robbie for a while now, and if there's one thing I know about Robbie, is that he will hit so many damn plus money plays that it is absolutely mind blowing. So if he's going to mix in for show purposes only, a couple of not even maybe, juicier plays than he puts out as far as his player props for hockey or football that are usually plus money. And correct me if I'm wrong, Robbie, but I think you hit a 353 and a 756 or what was both of those last night.
Plus 40, plus 488 and a plus 353 last night.
What do you want? It all balances out. In fact, it's more to the positive. So I don't have a problem with it. I like that I don't have the juiciest pick of the week. That somebody else came in a little bit higher than me, so whatever. But Robbie's good in my book.
Mark, you're supposed to be on my side. I'm sorry I asked you. Robbie, what's your rebuttal?
Yeah, thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. The minus 142 I got at plus 100, if we remember correctly. I just went over that last segment about profit boost and how to use them. Plus 100. So I do not have the juiciest place. I got, what's his name? Jerry Jeudy at minus 130. I think minus 130 is pretty good if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm not against it, but it looks like, Coach Tonsoni wants you to come and give a little lecture on the econ students. Make a little money.
My econ teacher would definitely laugh at that, considering what my grades were in high school in econ.
All right, let's look at these real quick, and I'm going to start with you, Robbie. Pick one out on this screen that you like the most. We'll parlay them together. And producer man, if you don't mind, give us a little bit of a graphic of some sort. But Robbie, go ahead and pick one off of either Mark's or my plays.
Yep. Before I do that, I'm going to mention Dan put in the chat my point parlay for tonight is plus 119 on FanDuel. I didn't check FanDuel because usually DraftKings is better, but you can get it at plus 119 there. Going back to your question, Saquon Barkley over 19.5 longest rush. I think he could go for way more than that against Carolina this weekend.
Okay.
And I was kind of torn between Mark's plays. And the only reason why is because I had Kareem Hunt last week for reception yards, and he got like -6 for reception yards. So the Raiders looks like a good matchup, but I'm just kind of worried that 87.5 is a little high for me. So I went ahead and I like the Buccaneers and the Vikings.
Okay. And Mark, anything that you like on here?
First of all, I agree with Rob. That Saquon Barkley's going to feast in this game. I see that one probably cashing within the first quarter, if not the first offensive series for him. I also like Robbie's Tony Pollard. You know, he is the only offensive option coming out of the backfield. And I just really like the way that they've started to utilize him, get him the ball. And, you know, those little swing passes will add up.
For sure. All right, so let's do that. Let's go with Saquon over the 19.5 longest rush. We'll go over the 3+ receptions from Tony Pollard, and then we'll go with your -2.5 little parlay there. So we're going to feast it and put it all into four legs, but we'll combine them all, and then each of us have those legs. And so we'll see what the odds are. But before we go there, let's talk about our weekend. And, Mark, I'm going to let you start here. We're going to look at some weekend vibes here because that's kind of what we're about. So I need to know, is there a person, a thing? What is it? And what is the good vibes or is it bad vibes?
Yeah, I was thinking about this, and we have been just on the morning show hammering Aaron Rodgers. I really think Aaron Rodgers needs both. He's bringing the bad vibes. He needs to find some good vibes. And that's kind of where I'm going with this weekend. I'm hoping, I said a few weeks back that I didn't think he'd be the starting quarterback come December. And the rumor mill's already started going. Who are they going to replace him with? How are they going to transition from the Aaron Rodgers era? It was a mistake to bring him on as a starting quarterback. It's a mistake to keep putting them out there week after week after week. The Jet season is in the tank. Let's get some good vibes, turn the leaf on this chapter of the Jets history, and bring in somebody, start to cultivate and develop a player as opposed to living under a player's shadow.
So you're saying that maybe they should go away from Aaron Rodgers. Maybe they should find a coach. Maybe they should figure out some way to actually build a foundation for this team and not just kind of relying on Rodgers, who's 40 plus. Like
DG, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step.
God, it's horrible. Robbie, what's your vibes this weekend?
Japan took my vibes. I was going to talk about Nate, but we already went ahead and talked about Nate. So I'm just going to go to a bad vibe section. Sorry, coach, it's not at you. I know you got your sign up asking for money outside the club. Maybe somebody will Venmo you. I'm going to go with the Nashville Predators. How do you acquire that much talent in the offseason? On paper, I've watched this team since 1998. On paper, it is the best team we've ever assembled. And they can't score no more than 2 goals. I don't understand it. I understand puck luck is a thing. If we had a stat for most post hit, we would be leading that stat because all we know how to do is hit the crossbar. But we can't put it in the back of the net to save our lives. I know Barry Trotz is giving it to Christmas to decide if we're going to actually rebuild this time or just keep going the same motion. Just rebuild. Get rid of them. Let the young guys go out there. Let them prove themselves, and let's start building. I'm tired of it. I want to see a rebuild. I want to see a new Predators team because apparently all that money we spent this offseason means nothing because they have done absolutely nothing.
All right. Looks like Laura Farquhar agrees with you. It's got to be a chemistry issue. Is that correct? That's what you're kind of going with? It might be a chemistry issue. They just need to break it down and start over.
It's that, or it's just guys want to shoot, or guys just want to shoot and they're not hitting. Like there's a lot of shooters and not enough passers on that team.
Gotcha.
Philip Forsberg last season was an ATM. You could bet him almost every game to score a goal at plus money. And most of the time it hit. You could bet that top line to get points last season at plus money. Most of the time it hit. they've regressed something terrible. And I thought they were going to be way better. Like, I'm very disappointed because I really thought they were going to make a decent run this year. Now I just want them to blow it all up.
Yeah, Mark.
A really interesting stat, especially on the Predators, is you can track shot height. And so the NHL will measure shots between, below 18 inches or above 18 inches. And that's important because below 18 inches, for those shots, they're coming off the pads of the goalie. You're getting rebounds, you're getting second shot attempts. So if it doesn't get past the goalie initially, that puck is bouncing off and you're going to get another, a quick second shot in, usually as a rebound.
Yeah. The
Predators last year had 64% of their shots 18 inches or below. This year, they're 73% above 18 inches. So you're getting more shots where the goalie can block it with his body and trap it or glove it. They've cut out the second shot opportunities for themselves, and thusly it's hurting the offense. They go hand in hand.
So if I'm getting you correctly, a few inches actually means a lot, right?
In this case, it does matter.
I thought so. I agree completely. All right, let me go with my vibes this weekend, and it's all about good vibes. So I am officially coaching my daughter's basketball team, and we have our first game tonight, taking a step up in levels of basketball leagues this year. But it's my good vibes is for simply that it's so much fun coaching just in general, but it's so hard because I'm now dealing with a bunch of 9-ish, maybe 10-year-olds. And the emotions of girls is always crazy. It's always evolving. It's always there's always something going on. And so it's good vibes. It's a good time, but it's always a struggle and trying to figure out who you're going to get show up. And just like I talked about in the morning show this morning about John Morant, it just looked like he was sad. It looked like there was something going on in his world where he just doesn't play. Well, that's kind of how I feel when we go into practices. And so I'm excited about the game tonight. But we start off the weekend with a back-to-back. Who does that? So that's a bad vibe for me overall. But overall, good vibes this weekend and starting tonight as our first game. So it should be a good time. So anything else that y'all have for our weekend vibes before we move on to our parlay fun?
Yeah, good luck and God bless, brother, coaching girls. I coach boys, so it's way different.
Yeah.
Way different. Because we kind of co-coach. There's a girls team on the other side. I can hear them. I hear all the stuff on that field. So yeah, Godspeed, brother, on that one.
We're gonna do good, I hope.
Yeah.
But taking a step up was the challenge. I was like, you know what? It's time to challenge ourselves, and we're doing that. So excited about it. But the other thing I'm excited about is this graphic. Look at that 594, boys.
Wow.
All right. So if you're just joining us and you've not seen this, we always go around and we pick a favorite off of each other's and try to just kind of put them together. So Mark has the Bucks and the Vikings both winning by a field goal or more, and that's at plus 115. And then you go my Saquon for 20 plus longest rush, and then Tony Pollard to get 3 or more receptions. And so you put them all together, that is plus 594. Robbie, your thoughts?
That's great. It's glorious. I think it's going to hit easily. We haven't hit one of these yet, but It's happening this week. It's going to happen this week.
It is. Mark.
I love it. We start this, and every time we do this, that we've done this segment, and to Robbie's point, we haven't cashed one yet. But I always feel like I look at that and be like, how is this not hitting? It's just, how is this not hitting? And I feel the same way this weekend. So yeah, let's do it.
All right, Laura Farquad has a question for you.
We're just looking that up for
Vikings -6 this week, or would you go ahead and tease it down?
Yeah, no, I love the Vikings -6 still in this spot. The reason I teased it for the play that I made for Sunday is, again, you're going into a game with a team who just needs to win. They don't need to win by a lot, and they're not going to take the chances that they would have probably earlier in the season in a game like this. They're going to play it safe. A very conservative game script. They just need a win to keep pace. That's it. And I think that's the mentality with a lot of these playoff bound teams is it's no longer we need to, keep our offense in sync and keep things moving. It's just we need to get that next win and move on.
Right.
The model does have the Vikings covering the spread. So, and it covers the spread in 59.76% of the Sims. So, I do like them at -6.
Yep.
I teased it down for the show.
All right, I like it. Kevin, welcome. Being late's okay. Just put the rewind button as soon as we're done. But I want to read a stat I just got from our group text with Driving the Line. Las Vegas Raiders QB Aiden O'Connell is 11-2 in his career, the best against the spread winning percentage for any QB in the Super Bowl era with a minimum of 10 starts. Is that shocking?
Very. Have you seen Aiden O'Connell?
Yes, he's not good. So does that mean we need to
Wow.
bet? Who are the Raiders playing? They're playing the Bucks, right?
They're playing the Bucks.
They're
And
playing
we're on
the
the
Bucks.
Bucks.
Well,
And
okay.
we're on
So
the Bucks.
what's the Bucks line? Isn't it 5.5?
6.5.
Okay.
Yeah, we went
Okay,
up
so-
today. Yeah.
As long as we're fine. We just need them to win by a field goal. So Aiden O'Connell makes me nervous.
I'll tell you what, though, it's interesting because the model has the Raiders winning at the 6.5 line in 53% of the Sims. So that's interesting.
Wow. Japan's an amazing QB's cover. And your hat, I know what kind of hat that is. I don't have one.
I don't need it.
That's weird.
Zach,
Yeah.
I had to beg, steal, and borrow to get this Mims hat from, shout out Mims Lumber. It went over. I wore it for the first time last night at the gig that we played. People loved it. And this is my new music playing hat.
I like
just
it.
drive down the street. He's literally like an hour from us. I should just drive
That's
down there and grab one.
He's not far from me. All right, Mark, wrap us up. Your final thoughts for this week.
I think that we've got in store for us, we got some great hockey being played. I'm excited about the slate for hockey, especially Saturday and Sunday. Very excited to see how this college football playoffs picture starts to get a little more solidified.
Right.
And I think that with the NFL entering that playoff, we're in that playoff season. I'm excited about where that falls out and seeing it's getting a really good idea for where teams are at from a motivation standpoint. I think this is the week to start to pinpoint teams so you can either start to fade players for prop wise or start backing them.
Yeah, I agree. And there's definitely a weird time that we're coming into is figuring out how to adjust because it's in the very beginning of the season with the NFL is you're trying to just catch those good numbers and then you're trying to stabilize throughout the middle. And towards the end, you're like, all right, I think I know enough now where I can take a stab, but you have to be very careful because you never know the jockeying that might be happening. So be very careful. But I do think this is a good time to kind of pick the books apart, but you can't really just go all in. I think this needs to be, instead of like spray and pray, I think you need to pull back and kind of just be a little bit more dialed in. Everybody's liking my hat today, so appreciate it, guys. All right, Robbie, what you got? Final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree totally. Player props, especially in the NFL this time of year, the books are on it. The books are really smart, so you got to find your edges and you got to do a lot of digging this time of year because it's kind of hard to do. I'm going to Metropolis, Illinois tonight to a casino, last second deal. And I'm coming back early in the morning and fixing a garage door that my wife didn't hit this week. So that's going to be my Saturday. Saturday night, I'm looking forward to watching Nate tear up I think it's I don't know the guy he's fighting. He's a Korean. What's his name? The Korean Superboy is who he's fighting. So go Nate the Train.
Yeah, let's go Nate. I love Nate. I'm going to put money on it. Why not? He's from Clarksville.
I'm putting money on it. Yeah, I'm doing it.
Let's do it. All right, that's all we got this week. Nothing crazy for me this week except for a lot of basketball. We have 2 games, and so that'll be doing that and then chauffeuring my entire family around because my wife can't exactly drive just yet. So we're all, we're doing everything as a family right now. And so eventually she will, but she's healing back nicely. It's just going to be a couple more weeks because it's on her driving foot so she can actually drive. So I think we're going to do some family stuff, kind of do some stuff around the house. And so it should be a good time. I'm excited to watch a lot of sports, a lot of football. But boys, incredible show as always. Thank you all for joining us as you always do. If you're a crew member, then thank you because you're the reason that we do this show, but also everybody else that might be seeing this for the first time. Thank you as well. And become a crew member because it's so much fun. This community that Driving the Line really is. is really awesome. And so if you're not, please do it, because it will be it'll be very profitable for you, but also very enjoyable. And I think that's really all that matters. So, but that's all we got. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you at the pay window.